Hi, I'm Bran, and I love The Way Home.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I like The Way Home.
You said it really quick there, right? I'm Dan. I despise The Way Home, and this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Wow, hi.
Oh, man.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
It's great to be here today on a Wednesday, talking about The Way Home with my
So
friends.
great.
It's just a great day.
So great to be
Ryan, we got to get right to business.
Yep.
The most asked question, I think, on the internet last week, if you go...
How many episodes before Kat and Jacob speak to each other? No, it isn't
No,
that.
It is,
No, that was second.
did Ryan win his VCR Blu-ray combo?
VHS, VHS Blu-ray combo. And
VHS player. Yeah. I didn't get it.
yeah.
Didn't someone outbid.
Who for how much?
I think they bought it for full price. I $250. I tried to get it. I tried to get it for, I think, with tax, $180 something. It was purchased for $250. I think straight up by whoever ended up.
We did not buy that. I would love.
I thought
it
that's
if we
maybe
did.
where we were going. I thought that's where we were going
No.
for a second.
No,
we
we're
did
not
not.
that
We
good.
did not purchase it, but as soon as I heard you didn't get it, I certainly wished we had, but we did not.
I felt a little responsible.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I mean, don't be hard on yourself. I mean, you guys. I mean, Dan said, "quote hunk of junk, not worth it." But
I did lose sleep trying to figure out how it was helpful to you, but I didn't. It's not a recorder. You're not recording VHS like new DVDs of VHS tapes. It just plays them both with one device, right?
One device. Yes. I am again not at home, or else I would give you the reason as to why I thought it could be good in said space. But alas, listen, there will be more opportunities. Although I don't know how many there are left in the wild, so that might have been the best chance. But listen, I have a Blu-ray player, I have a VCR,
But the space,
The cords.
think
the
about
cables.
the space alone.
I mean, man, you can just put your RF modulator away at this point.
unlike last week, this feels a little mocky. So maybe.
Time out. If last week didn't feel mocky, then we did not do a great job.
So listen, there will be more opportunities. I allocated that money elsewhere. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
You mind if I ask what for?
Yeah.
Maybe we cut this out if Alyssa's listening. Listen, there was a high-end action figure that I wanted that I put a little down for.
When you say
What do you mean you put it down? That's not full price?
These are both great questions. What is a high-end action figure? One, and two, you put a down payment on one?
Literally that's what happened. Yeah, I put $45 down now to pay more than that later.
How much? How much?
I mean, soup to nuts, it'll be about $160.
Soup to nuts. I bet it won't even fit in a VCR.
So it's like $160 total or so, and then it's a 1/12 scale replica figure. So it'll be like it's like really like high end stuff.
So what kind of? Who is it? Who is this? A $6 million man? Who is it?
It's a exact replica of the White Power Ranger from the first film. It will go next to my screen used helmet from the film once I get my display unit going.
And just
in
to
my
be
office.
clear, when he says exact replica, he means 1/12
Yes.
of exact replica.
Someone still. No one wore it on the. No one used it.
No, my helmet actually was worn on the film. Yes, but yeah, this figure is a 1/12 replica of said.
$45 down, $120 later.
How big's 1/12? What are we talking? What are we?
Like
inches. So the size of an action figure.
No, bigger. I would say the size of probably around 12, 12 inches or so, right? I mean, 1/12. Yeah.
I mean,
a foot.
my kids have some action figures that are about.
No, the detail on those.
You're not gonna. How dare you come in here with that nonsense?
Weak sauce.
This is high-end brand. Did you put a down payment on any of those? You certainly did not.
Is this
Did you have to go through a firm financing for any of your?
Are you paying monthly?
No.
Are you paying monthly?
No. It was 40 up front, and then you pay the rest. You pay the rest later.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a
so
rooms
I'm trying
to go
to.
situation. There's no
Honored
interest for
code.
100 years.
it's, I don't know if you can, it's
really
good.
Oh, you can see that's high-end.
Philo.tv/DTH.
You can see that's high-end.
The detail.
So good stuff.
Wait, so you have a helmet that was worn on set?
Yeah. It's from the original film. It's a very long story. If we went long,
you still paying that off?
No, I can't reveal how much that was, but I'm doing fine.
Is it more than $1,000?
Yeah.
Are you going to be buried in it?
Wow, have I told you that before?
No.
Yes, that's the plan. That's the plan. Yeah, like that is the plan. Like, that is genuinely the only thing that comforts me about my inevitable demise is that I will be buried in said helmet. From, if you've ever seen the first Power Rangers film, this helmet looked Ivan Ooze in the eye. Like it was.
Wow.
It was. Yeah. So, but yeah, more than a grand. More than a grand.
Tell me about the casket. Because I'm sure you have it all played out. Is it all white? Have we seen this casket anywhere?
No, it's gonna say it's gonna be engraved. Hi, I'm Ryan, and I like The Way Home. So it's like,
yes,
I love
he
that.
liked The Way Home.
Which at that point is a metaphor.
I have to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
amen.
I'm gonna be so sad when you die. But
are you dying soon, Ryan? Like, are we like? You're his age. You're going before he is.
100%.
I mean, like, there's no way around that.
I'm gonna make sure that's not the case, because the thought of seeing you in your helmet is something I can't bear, knowing that there's a chance I'll miss that. So
I don't want to dive deeper on you making sure it's not the case.
I'm putting the steps in place.
Should we murder Ryan? Is that what you're asking?
Not anytime soon.
No.
Not Bramblefest this year.
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
Yeah, that casket will be lined with VHS tapes.
It's just gonna be one big video cassette.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, no, as it lowers into the ground, everyone's throwing their VHSs on top.
Man.
I mean, guys, come on.
We're
Obviously, not anytime soon.
We're all singing at half speed. Go, go, Power Rangers.
That's beautiful, man. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
The gig is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. No.
Amazing.
If I'm still alive when you die, then it is tragic. It's tragic for you at that point.
We all got a ways to go.
I'll record it and bring it to heaven with me. I know you can't bring stuff through the pond, but you can bring videos to heaven.
You really?
Yeah, just put it in a Ziploc bag.
I'll put it in a Ziploc bag. We'll be good to go.
Yes.
That does get us to the way home, everybody.
Whew, we made it.
It's time to talk about season 2, episode 7.
Yes.
How to Save a Life?
No, somebody that I used to know.
Somewhere only we know.
Somewhere only we know.
You didn't know Keen.
No.
You knew Keen, right?
Yeah, I knew Keen. I knew where you were going. It's always a bummer with the delay. We could never harmonize the way that we do.
Right. We'll be able to harmonize together in heaven, though.
Amen.
Amen.
The great harmony.
Once this way home is over and we are home, amen. Yeah.
That's right. Great harmony in the sky.
That's right. The great harmony. The great VHS Blu-ray combo in the sky.
What a little something like this. Kat runs back to the present to try to get some supplies, including some pain meds to help her brother, Jacob.
So we think, yes.
Who has been hit and is currently on his deathbed. She goes outside and Alice starts to argue with her, like, what are you doing? What's going on here? Just tell me, blah, blah, blah. Dell sees this happening through the window. So when Kat is running to the pond, Dell shows up on Colton, horseback, to stop her and asks where she's running off to.
There are a dozen ways you could have said that, and all of them would have been better than what you chose.
Agree to disagree.
All of them.
Agree to disagree.
Good. Try to do worse than shows up on Colton.
Yeah, take 2.
Can't. I don't want to. It was perfect. They end up back in the kitchen, and Dell throws the Founders Day edition of the paper down on the table and says, the mayor's office has been calling, looking for you, wanting to know why the Founders Day edition is a complete embarrassment to this town. Mockery of me, a mockery of this family. Alice says, it's my fault.
I'm going out to ride Colton.
That's exactly right.
I'm going out to ride Colton bareback. I'll be back later.
All right, come on. Alice says, you know that horse can't ride bareback. It's not, can't handle that. Alice says it's my fault. The cat won't let her take the blame for it. Sam knocks on the door, though, and brought Dell some coffee, hoping to have another nearly nude situation. We do not. While that's happening, Alice tells Kat that they have to tell Dell the truth. And Kat is like, I don't want to get Dell's hopes up because what if Jake dies over there and then I can't bring him back to the future. Dell comes back and tells Kat that she lied to the mayor to protect her, protect herself, protect her family. Tells Kat that you're being unreliable, unprofessional, very disappointed in you. At the pond, Kat sees Elliot, and Elliot's like, hey, man, I don't think you're going to be able to bring that baggie of goodies with you in the pond. And she's like, what do you know? I don't have time for your theories. He was correct. The bag of goodies pops right back up to the top of the pond. Alice runs into adult Nick, who is in town. I was asking about him last week, so that was nice of him. Who just got back into town. He's looking for Kat or Elliot or any of his friends. Notices that the Landry's boat is still in their yard. Maybe I should give that thing a go. Maybe I should give it a go. Alice does not really want to spend time around him because it's weird. Because they kissed back in '99. Yeah. That's tough. Kat pops up in 1918 and is mad the pond took her supplies. Thomas is waiting for her, not at all surprised that she just popped out of the water. Thomas tells her that he'll take her to Jacob and hands her some men's clothing and saying, hey, everyone's looking for the White Witch. It's safer for you to dress like a man right now. Dude looks like a lady, though. They didn't want to name it that?
No.
They didn't want to name it that?
No, we got a fresh Keen song coming here.
Like a lady. Tom takes Kat to the lighthouse that they're hiding Jacob in, and Kat goes down this trap door. He slams the door as if he's like
locking him in there.
Does not. It's just the way he closes doors. Kat is like, oh my gosh, it's Jacob, and he's not looking good. He's not looking good, and he's in bad shape. Susanna tells Kat, hey, you remember how I fixed your little wounds? There's a lot of wounds. Going to need a lot of the herbs and the spices.
That's right.
The KFC.
We need herbs.
We need the KFC recipe stat. And so she's like, you stay here with my brother. I will go into the woods where I'm wanted, and I will try to find things. So Alice is at work. Nick and Elliot show up. Nick is talking about how he wants this boat. Elliot sees Alice and is like, hey, man, we should go somewhere else. But Nick wants to eat there. Come on. Nick finds out that the estate, the Lingermore, is on sale, and Elliot really wants to change that subject. He doesn't want to be here, and he wants to change the subject as fast as possible. Kat and Thomas are in the woods. He pushes her to the ground when he hears some people coming. The sparks begin to fly. You're like, oh my gosh, they're about to kiss. Didn't see this coming. And that's when she decides to let him know that she's not a witch. Rather, she's a time traveler. After about 5 seconds, he totally believes her. Cute boy Noah, which we all know and love, the kid who works at the food truck and whatnot, gives Alice a hard time about the newspaper, but agrees to help her look more into this Lingermore incident that's really been bothering her. She ends up finding a folder full of old photo reels of the incident, but they need a way to see those. So he's like, let me get back to you. I'll figure this out. Kat and Thomas make it back to the lighthouse as Jacob is coming to, but he freaks out at Kat. He's like, rah, rah, no, what are you doing here? That's Jacob. And I guess the fever's causing delirium.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Kat
can do that.
Kat stumbles back and bumps into a bunch of rum. And then she freaks out. She's like, oh, no, what are you doing? Ah! And she runs out.
Rum can also cause delirium.
That's exactly right. Runs out onto the beach. Thomas runs out there as well. And it's like, hey, Kat, Jacob's not this innocent boy you remember. It was Jacob's idea this whole time to steal the rum. Kat freaks out on him and is like, yeah, I just want to know my brother, but he's dying. She pushes him away. He picks her up, walks into the water. She's like, put me down. So he comes back, puts her on the beach and says, thought you needed to cool down. Dell and Sam spend the evening by the fire talking about going to is talking about what's going on between them, how she's not sure if she wants a relationship. He's like, I just enjoy getting to know my neighbor. Like a good neighbor, Sam is here. Nick and Elliot are also by a fire of their own, drinking beer. Nick reveals that he's now single. His fiance called off the wedding. And sometimes, sometimes love's hard, And Elliot's like, boy, is it. Then Kat and Thomas were by their own fire. Back in lots of fire.
Lots of fire.
Standing outside the fire. They head back to the lighthouse where she falls asleep. She wakes up. Jacob is coughing and is getting closer to his death. She comes out and begs Thomas to get him to the pond. If you can just bring him to the pond, we can fix him. He's like, it's too dangerous. And she's like, I don't care if it's dangerous, but then the people show up. There's people coming, and so she has to go into hiding, but they're fine. It's no big deal. Alice talks to Nick about her relationship problems. That's awkward, seeing as how back then in 99 they kissed. He doesn't know that, though. It's all, at this point, Noah shows up and is like, hey, I got this thing. We can scan the film in. It'll be great. While waiting for that, they sing, I Want It That Way. Could that have been the title? Yes. Was it? No. They end up kissing just as the picture shows up.
Would have been a great title.
She sees the picture. We see blood on the ground and Elliot's glasses right next to it. And a mask. What is going on here? It's at this point we see Elliot is looking at a folder where it talks about what's going to happen if Alice comes back. Will she ever, whatever. It's like this whole thing. Clearly he's thinking a lot about this event as well. Dell tells Nick that she can't sell the boat. As she walks away, he recognizes Alice's voice from upstairs singing I Want It That Way. He's like, I know that voice. Back in 1918, Kat sings Colton, a song from Colton to Jacob, and he lays there motionless. And then we see flashes.
And then Jon Snow wakes up.
Starts to see some childhood clips play, and suddenly Jacob wakes up, opens his eyes, and says, Kat! And that, my friends, was The Way Home, Season 2, Episode 7, Somewhere Only We Know.
I want it that way.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back.
Tell me why.
Let's take a quick break.
But a bad show.
We're back here at Deck Hallmark. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? I think we're having a good time.
Great.
I think we're having a good time. We're talking about The Way Home, Season 2, Episode 7. Only 3 more.
Only 3 left already?
3 more episodes left of this season. We got to wait until
rolling
next January, presumably.
Presumably?
I've heard about it.
Yeah, I've not until this very moment.
Indubitably.
Subliminally.
Let's
subliminal messages about supposedly.
Let's get to it. We're going to start with the hot take, where we share exactly how we felt about this episode. And I will say, so far this season, we've all been a little bit less excited about this season as a whole than last season. Let's see if this episode is going to be the turning point. I'll start with you, Ryan. Ryan, what'd you think of The Way Home?
So I had 2 big takeaways, right? The first is on a macro level, which is, we've all said it abundance of times already, which is that I actually, the cold open and the majority of the stuff that happened in present day felt like the show that I remembered. As soon as we got to 1814, this episode, more than any other, it was clear where I was just like, maybe none of this would have happened if we just didn't go back 200 some odd years in the past. And granted, some of that is because of the storytelling decisions they made, and then some of it's just that, I don't know, I don't want to keep doing the heroes thing, but like anytime you go way back in the past, I just feel like audiences check out. We've said all that. My micro realization, though, was the story beat by beat of this episode. I was like, man, I think this could have been episode 3.
There it is. Right there. Yes.
I was just like, man, like, I think if you cut out all the Augustine stuff, all the dirt, sorry, Bran, like all of this other stuff, like I feel like whether or not from this hypothetical world where this would have been episode 2 or 3, and then we see where we go from there, maybe we wouldn't have liked that version of season 2 either. But we know we didn't this version. But there was elements of this episode, even in the 1814 stuff, where I was like, I would have been willing to see where this went. But now there's only so much time left. There's 100 some odd minutes left, and we got so much time of the season we didn't like. So that was really a bummer. Some interesting ideas, and then ultimately the final few moments, this kid's doing interviews saying that he's Jacob. He knows Kat's name. It's probably Jacob, and for me, that's probably a point of no return. Those are my thoughts, Bran. Sorry about the dirt.
It's okay. I understand.
You're right 100%, Ryan. If this was episode 3, I think we all would be way more on board than we are right now.
Yeah.
The dirt sucks. Yes, we got it. Go ahead, Brandon.
Know that they haven't addressed it.
It's even worse.
I thought that this episode was fine. To what Ryan said, anytime we're here, anytime we're in the present, I'm by and large having a good time. I could listen to Alice and Noah singing I Want It That Way, having a good time, playing detective, putting the film in the thing, seeing that. Like, that's fun. I'm having fun
and
here.
That's like maybe 30%
and we
of
got
this episode.
We got this interesting thing going on with this estate. That's honestly the storyline that I'm most intrigued by. Like, what happened there? Clearly, Alice is going to, and I'm if I was a betting man, I'd say that this is going to happen in the season finale. But she will go back to whenever this happened, and this will be this big event, and we'll finally find out what happened here. Did Alice kill someone and then just never showed back up? I don't know. But we're going to find out, I imagine. I hope so. So that's the thing I'm most excited about. I'm happy we brought Nick back because I got a lot of unanswered questions, and it sounds like he's going to be around for a little while, seeing as how he's been broken up with and whatnot. Maybe not. He couldn't get by the boat, but it's just interesting. I'm not saying when she's having that conversation in the boat with Nick, I'm not saying I'm having a good time. It's making me feel a little bit icky inside, but it's something that needs to happen because she had a serious
Why does it need to happen? They closed the circle last season.
No, they did not.
They did. He came by one
last
time.
By and large.
Completely closed it. He was engaged and he left.
Yeah, but he remembered. There was something about, you could see that he remembered a little something. Clearly, I like it. I like all of that. Really, basically anything involving Alice, I'm on board with this. Del and Sam, not nearly nude, but close. They're talking around a fire, so might as well.
1814, which is over half this episode.
1814 could take it or leave it. Mainly leave it. I do like they set up this thing where it's like take them to the pond, and I'm like, okay, what are we just gonna? We're gonna bring this guy to the pond. What's gonna happen there? And then he came to without having to be brought to the pond. And so the one thing that I thought could like maybe make it interesting, where they're trying to take this body to the pond and do this thing, didn't end up happening. And so overall, an okay episode. But I'm ready for us to be past 1814, and I'm worried we're
took a little trip.
There,
You're not. Yeah, we're not going to be past it. They decided to put all their chips on the year 1814 for some reason. I don't know why. I hope it's
I did that
explained
once.
to me. Maybe they were like, you know what, the War of 1812 has been underutilized in modern pop culture. Listen. You know, once again, last week's episode on Instagram, we had some folks who were upset at us, and clearly we're going to do the same thing every week. Thanks for continuing to listen. But I think part of the crux of that argument is, and this is what somebody said in a comment on Instagram this week, which was, you guys watch these Christmas movies and you just suspend your disbelief and you know that they're bad and you just give them a pass on all this stuff and you say that you like them. Why aren't you doing that with this show? This show is way better than that. And I think the answer is in the comment, which is we all now are expecting a little bit more from this. If we're judging this based upon the worst Christmas movie I saw, then this is amazing. If we're judging it on what it is, then it's not good. Guys, anytime you have a show where the first season they're searching for a character, if in the second season they find that character in the premiere a fleeting glance or name, and then you don't actually have the person and the lead from your show talk through the first 7 episodes, then you're spinning your wheels, man. Like, we can talk about 2024 and all that stuff is better than what's going on in 1814, but this show is putting most of its eggs in the basket of Jacob in 1814, and that is going so poorly. The Thomas thing with him carrying her out of the water was weird. The fact that Jacob and Kat still haven't talked to each other is absurd. We are getting to the point where the excuses are like something out of Whose Line Is It Anyway? You need to go get herbs. His fever is causing delirium. You're just making stuff up so this is a preview. This season is becoming a 10-episode trailer for season 3. It is, what have we done there? I'm 100% with Ryan. If he opens his eyes at the beginning of 3 or even 2 and just take a lot of the dumb plot lines out of 1814 and get us back to present day, I'll forgive the fact that you brought Jacob with you. In present day, Alice's stuff is the most compelling stuff. Still, of all the plot lines, bringing Nick back was the dumbest, in my opinion. That was the one thing that it was like, all right, it's icky. This guy's 42. She's 17. This is weird. It's icky. It is Back to the Future-esque. We did this in the first season. We closed that circle. She can move on from her first love, and we can move on to better things. And instead, they bring him back again, and maybe Dell gives him the boat. He's not even in the family. I thought that plot line just seemed to be very grasping at straws. And it should tell you everything you need to know about this season of television, that we hear about a party in 2007 in episode 7, and it's easily the most interesting thing that we've seen. Like, easily we're like, ooh, what's going on there? If that is the most interesting thing, then what they've been doing for the previous 200-some minutes of television, 300-some minutes of television, hasn't really worked. And so all I can hope is that this puts us on a new path that gets us out of 1814 and gives us something compelling to watch moving forward. But unfortunately, more of the same. Maybe not as bad as last week's episode, but more of the same for sure. And that's disappointing.
It's time for all the feels. We're talking about what in this episode gave us feels. Ryan.
The BSB needle drop, which is always great.
Yeah, come on.
Right. I would have been, me specifically, I would have been pumped no matter what. But I will say, in the midst of a rough season and an episode that was very up and down, as we already talked about, I thought the moment between Alice and Noah, like in the room, young love, I thought that was great. Yep. Like, I genuinely, like, and that almost makes the rest of the episode, especially the stuff that we're really keying in that isn't working, more of a bummer. Because that was like one of the best depictions of young love I've seen on TV in a really, really long time. 2 great performances, obviously a bop of a song. So it's a bummer to know that the show is still capable of really great moments like that in the midst of everything else. I also thought it was hilarious that they were like, you know what, we paid for BSB. We're going to play this song throughout like 7 straight scenes. Yeah. We paid for it. We're making sure we want the extended play version. So loved that scene, loved the song. Tell me why.
Well, it ain't nothing but a heartbreak, you know?
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but mistake.
Yes.
This ain't nothing
Tell
but
me
a
why.
mistake. Whatever. I've gone too long.
You don't know.
Listen, I never want to hear you say I want it that way. The scene where Dell sees him out the window and then hops on Colton and chases and cuts her off in the woods. I was so excited because I was like, we're finally gonna get the reveal that Dell either knows about the pond, they're gonna have to fess up about what's happening.
So frustrating.
And then they didn't. For some reason, they go back to the kitchen to have a conversation. Yeah. But for that split second, I was like, yes, finally it's happening. And that was an exciting feeling. When she cut her off in the woods on Colton, like, that was exciting for me. That was an exciting moment.
Yeah.
Dan.
Easily one of the more embarrassing parts of this show is the fact that they've not dealt with Dell in the pond yet. And I don't know how they can possibly keep.
Surely we can't make it through the end of the season without her.
I think you can.
No way.
Maybe.
No way.
I also was confused as to why the paper being such a bad article was the impetus for Alice to be like, we have to tell Del right now.
Yeah.
No more wait. Like, why? Because there was a bad article.
It was
Do we have
so
to tell her about the
stupid.
pond?
Like all of a sudden, one article gets written by a high school kid and everybody loses their minds.
I think it was just that they don't have they just don't have a story for where she is. Like they have no
Del
cover
doesn't
story.
do anything all day. Like she is on her farm.
No, I'm
She's
talking about.
there.
I'm
I
talking.
know,
Yeah, okay.
but like 17 episodes, she never wandered out to the pond one time. Never followed one of them out there, not once. She's looking for her lost child. Never meandered out to the spring for a quick dip. Nothing. Like never one time in her umpteen decades of living on this land, she never was like, maybe I'll go out to the pond, see all the hubbub's about.
She has to know.
Stop
There's no
it.
way.
That's bad too, though. But that's bad too.
Yeah.
Like if she knows, that's bad
too. If she knows and she's not saying anything, that might be worse.
It's the same thing as Jacob. It's like if it is him, bad. If it's not him,
Here's
bad.
the thing.
Like
But Jacob's only been going on for about 6 episodes. This has been going on for decades of this show's lore. I don't believe it.
It's gonna be okay. I mean,
I'm getting upset about it. I don't believe it. My favorite scene was also
he's
the
still
Backstreet
many
Boys.
years away from death.
That's true, and I just don't want to see the helmet on him. He's a buddy of mine.
I know. Well, but it's a win-win. A win. We get to spend a long time with him.
Also,
if he dies, we get to see him in the we get to see him in the helmet,
of course.
And so it's a win-win.
It should really comfort everyone.
It really is. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Backstreet Boys was mine as well.
100-year-old Ryan in the casket,
dude, helmet on. That's all I want. Is somebody in like the year 2080 who's 15 years old.
Worst case scenario,
who's rolling up and is like.
Worst case scenario is that's just how people are buried because it's the future.
90.
Oh, that just becomes a thing.
Yeah, it becomes a thing. Like we're in the future, everybody wears these like white helmets to get buried in, and then yours isn't special. No one asks questions. Yeah. It's like, oh, there's another white helmet burial.
I guess it's a chance I'm willing to take because the alternative is that I go sooner than that. So
you're right.
You're
right.
That's true. Fair enough. I did it.
Did you do it?
Boys. Sure. Yes.
Okay, great. It's time for a break. We'll be right back here on Deck Dolphin. I remember what I was going to say. If you're going to be gone saving your brother's life for a long time, you have to have a cover story.
Yes.
Like you have to.
Yeah.
You and your daughter have to decide where you're going.
Especially since she's literally... How many times has she gone in the pond to 1814? A half dozen? Like,
at least, I would say at least 6.
Probably more.
She is spending more time there than she's spending here. It is becoming, you live in the same house.
They have to have a cover.
But to be fair to them, they've taken as much time on that as they have on explaining the Jacob of it all. They're not doing it. And there's some reason, but they're not doing it.
It's time for Wait What. Bye, Brian. It's where we talk about what. Sorry,
Brian left today.
Hey, Brian.
He does a full goodbye. He wasn't on screen.
What you got, Ryan? Anything make you go wait what while you're watching this?
I have 4, but the first one was touched on by both of you. I'm sure it's on all of our lists. Let's just touch on it quickly. The picking her up in the water was genuinely one of the strangest scenes I've ever seen. And Alyssa was 3/4 asleep. I watched these episodes late at night, and it crashes the break, and she goes, well, that was bleeping weird. Well, I mean, like it didn't make. This isn't going to be very articulate. It didn't make any sense. Did I miss something?
No.
It was so bad.
It was terrible. They're trying to fast track a Kat and Thomas love story so they can create a love triangle with Elliot, Thomas, and Kat. And I said that from the first time that Joker appeared on screen back in episode 1. And they have done nothing to build any sort of foundation there. They just thought this really awkward, silly scene was going to do it. And it didn't.
No, and like it was a bummer too, because like she had a pretty good acting performance in the moments leading up to him picking her up. Just a real miss. All right, so my 3 proper ones. For anyone not on file, it's a Ziploc bag. This is not going to protect. Like this is like Brand saying how you can't wear jeans in the pond times 1,000.
Ryan brought a prop.
In what
For
scenario?
anyone who's never seen a Ziploc bag, see Exhibit A. I
In
brought
what
one.
scenario?
Yeah, you got
In
the
what
whole thing out.
scenario?
I love it.
In what scenario? She's in a rush, okay, but either like through 100 years of seeing things on screen, you bring a briefcase into the water, you take it out of the water, it's submerged with water with it. It's just so stupid. There was 0% chance of success.
But Ryan
throwing shade on Ziploc right now. It's Ziploc.
It's in the name. Zip. Lock.
That mofo is
Smart
airtight.
house. Smart house. It's in the name. Smart
That's
house.
right.
Yeah. Like Zetus Lapidus. So that really bothered me. And then I don't want to be tough because I get that, season 2s are hard. Like I said last week, I like the stuff in present day, but in 1814, and I think the writing on this show is still generally really good. They literally had Kat say, "So close yet so far," unironically near the end of this episode. And that's a bummer. That's a real bummer. And then last one, I'm just going to read this. In what world or on what cell service can you decide if you want to delete your voicemail after the fact? Is that a real thing?
I think when she was still leaving it, you can hit start. You can hit if you're leaving a voicemail, you can, before you finished hanging up, you can re-record your voicemail. That is a thing.
Know that.
Yeah, true story.
It just wouldn't have worked. It just wouldn't have worked.
Did you see that, guys?
It just would not have worked.
The war between Ziploc and Pappolla begins now.
I love Ziploc. I love it. All my loose action figures in Ziplocs of varying sizes. But you know what I wouldn't do with my precious
sick brag, man. All your loose action, all of them.
I wouldn't take all of my out of box Power Ranger, etc. figures and try to go through the pond back 200 years and not expect them to get wet. Bran, I kick it to you.
Thank you. First of all,
what if it was 2 Ziplocs?
First of all, and I think we can all agree this, F Ziploc. Hate them. A bogus company. I think we can all agree on that. All right, let's get
bogus company.
A bogus company.
We're gonna get sued.
They're liars. They're straight liars. It's not truly locked. It's not truly. Anyone can open that thing. It's not locked at all.
It's a Ziploc.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not a padlock. It's
exactly right.
Wouldn't have mattered in this instance if it was padlock. I digress. Sorry, it doesn't
Just can you test it?
Titanium.
Can you test it real quick?
No, I can't. I can barely swim. No, I can't do
it
that.
in the bathtub. Put some of your loose figures in a Ziploc, zip it until it's locked, go into your bathtub, submerge it, keep it underwater there for a while, and then have yourselves a day and let us know how it goes.
We'll report back next week.
We'll report back.
Great.
Thank you. Yes, Aaron?
You don't have to use the bathtub. You can just use the sink.
The sink would be just as effective and way more efficient.
I'm trying to get as close to pond without ponding.
You don't want to waste the water.
I don't think that would be effective. I think the bathtub is our best bet because it's like in a pond. You're going feet down. It's
Pool's open in 3 weeks. I'll do it in the pool. We'll see what happens there.
It's going to be so timely. Everyone's going to know what we're talking about.
You guys remember?
It's going to be awesome. Time for the finale.
Yes,
for the finale.
It'll be great. We'll go live
Easter
on social
Sunday.
media.
Yeah.
Mythbusters. Hey guys, Mythbusters here.
We're not. That's a real program, Brandon. You
is.
can't say that. We're not.
It's
like saying Ziploc is a bogus company. Like they could sue you. They're not a bogus company. This is a real Mr. Beast situation.
I love Ziploc. They serve me very well. My issue is with the way Holmes used to.
Quit.
Ryan Pappolla hates Ziploc.
Ryan's. You can't be.
No.
You can't be in the pocket of Ziploc and be questioning them at the same time.
Maybe that's the problem.
The smaller size is good for the loose figures. So, but she tried to put a good plethora.
Are these parts of action figures?
No, Dan, get hip.
I'm sorry. I'm not up to date on my action figure collectibles lingo.
You're either mint on card and it's in a packaging, or it's a loose figure and then you put it in a little bit of a baggie. A
little bit of a baggie, like a Ziploc. Only a little bit of one, not a real bag, a bogus one.
Those are Brand's words, not mine.
You get it.
Those are
bogus Ziploc.
I got to clean up all these
Speaking
Ziplocs. I
of
made a mess.
the Ziploc situation, when going into the house to put all of the things in the baggie, why change into jeans in present day clothes
Yeah.
when you know you're just going right back?
Yeah, what are you changing into
What
when
are
you
you
get back?
doing? Listen, I know I can understand maybe
I wasn't
wanting to change out of the white witch's clothes, but you have to, if you know you're gonna be going right back, bro, you cannot put on jeans. It is such a mistake. It is probably the biggest mistake of your life, and you will regret it immediately. But there has to be other options. There has to be other options for you to change into in a moment's notice to get out of that white witch outfit. It has to be.
I know that those of you who are listening at home, maybe in your car, are thinking, this is 17 episodes in a row that Brain has brought up clothes that you wear into the pond. And I appreciate you being patient with us. This week, he's right. This week, he's 100% right. She's in white witch garb. She's about to go back to 1814, where she will need to continue to be in 1814 garb. Why'd she change clothes? Why did she change clothes? It didn't make any sense at all. Brain's 100% right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one more.
Thank you, Dan.
When Dell is.
Thank you, Ziploc.
Thank you, Ziploc.
Thank you, Ziploc.
When you are
Promo code DECK. Promo code BOGUS at checkout.
bogus. Just everyone do their own experiments.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying.
Name me another Ziploc bag company. Hefty? Do they make them? I think they do.
Hefty makes
Plastic
that,
Good
yeah.
Boys?
Plastic Good Boys.
I was going up and up.
Up and up.
Oh, Target.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Target.
Yeah, Target. I got one more. When Alice is when Dell goes to the door to talk to Sam after yelling at Kat, it's like, hey, hold on. Alice goes to her mom and is trying to convince her, hey, we got to come clean here. And so what she says is, we have to tell Dell. Dell's your grandma and your mom's mom. Who calls their grandma by their first name, especially in that situation when she never has before? We have to tell Dell. If I'm Kat in that moment, I'm going, hold on a second. It's grandma to you, first of all. Who do you think you are? I've raised you better. But also, no, we're not coming clean. It was a really weird time for Alice to start calling her grandma Dell by her first name. Dano?
I had that one. We've already touched on a lot of these. The Founders Day paper being this big, like, at the end of the day, it's still a local paper. Like, I want to be very clear. Like, it's at the end of the day, this is still a local, not regional newspaper. And so, yes, it was a mess, but the fact that it became a family embarrassment is crazy. And then when Nick,
shots fired against local news.
Nick comes back.
This is worse than the Ziploc fiasco.
No. Ziploc is way worse. First of all, second of all,
thank you.
Yeah. Nick and Elliot go to the restaurant and they're like, he's like, we got to get out of here quick. They literally never order anything. Never once do they order like they walk in and he's like, I want one of these sandwiches. He never orders it. He walks right up to the counter to talk to Alice and they talk to each other and then Alice brings them their food.
He orders the sandwich and the drink.
I thought he was talking to Elliot on the way in. Elliot's like, we could go somewhere else to eat. And he's like, no, I want one of these sandwiches. And then they walk up to the counter with Alice. They ordered two Alice.
I swear they ordered.
All right, if you swear they did, then I could be wrong.
After they order, they have a quick 20-second conversation, and
then she immediately has the food.
Then Elliot's like, "Where's our food?" And I remember thinking, "Calm down, you just
ordered 20 seconds ago."
Yeah.
Well, either way, that scene doesn't make a lot of sense. If they've ordered or not. If they did, then I was just wrong about that. But they don't, they get up to the counter and it's like, we're out of here like this. Mm-hmm. Like nobody's business. Thomas and Kat have to hide from what's his name's men that are looking for him, and Cyrus Goodwin. Yeah. We all know, of course, he's a big deal, and they duck behind a tree. It is out in the middle of the worst manhunt would find them. In fact, we see a camera angle of under the tree. So literally it's a tree on the ground. Imagine how useful a tree is to hide behind when it's straight up in the air. It's on the ground and there's space under it and over it. Mm-hmm. For them, and it's like a half dozen dudes walking through the forest. None of them see either one of them. at all. Neither hide nor hair. They don't see him at all. And then lastly, I'm still trying to figure out if this little nugget that Thomas tells Kat, this piece of wisdom, is the smartest or dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't know which. Here's what he says. The distance, whether it be from stars or people, isn't what you should be worried about. Worry when you can't find them at all. So I think he's saying, like, sometimes you're far away from things, but they can still help you. Like the stars can lead the way. But if you were to look up and see no stars, then you would worry. And if you were to look up and see no people, you would also probably worry at that point.
No Ziplocs.
No Ziplocs. There would be no Ziplocs.
Imagine a world where Ziploc didn't exist.
Man, it would be a lot less bogus, you know what I mean?
You get it. It's time for Sink or Swim. It's where we'll do a little sinking, do a little swimming, and everything in between. Right?
Thanks, Brandon. So to Dan's point, I also think that Nick was, relatively speaking, wrapped up pretty well, much like in a Ziploc, in season 1.
Airtight.
Yeah, an airtight storyline.
And they threw him right back in the pond.
However, so I will say that this is a history maker for us here on the Way Home recap, because this went from a sink to a swim during the episode. I was thinking on the fact that I was like, you know what? We all loved season 1, and we probably all overlooked the fact that Alice, Elliot, Kat, they all have vivid memories of Alice, but Nick does not remember her enough to think that it's a different person in present day. We all probably should have been a little tougher on that last season, because it really
100%
doesn't make a ton of sense when you think about it in context. However, so I was like, oh, that's a sink. But then at least by the end of the episode, for better or worse, they are going to revisit the fact that now he's like, oh, wait, I do know this person. So it became a swim, but it's also convoluted because should we even be doing that? So make of that what you will.
I don't think that was a sink or swim.
Well,
I think it was
everything in between.
Yeah, that's right. It was an everything in between. That's right.
My sink is I am increasingly concerned we're not going to get any more dirt. And I know people might be saying, Bran, you grossly overestimated the importance of that one line in episode 1 of the season. And you might be right. This might be on me. But at the end of the day, I'm just concerned. I don't want to be made a fool. I've made that pretty clear throughout my journey here on Deck the Homework, that I never want people to think that I am dumb or that I don't have it or that I'm just...
You've made that clear?
I've made it clear.
Okay.
And so I am hoping to God...
Oh, my goodness.
...that they do bring back up the dirt. At this point, I don't even know if I really want them to for the sake of the story so much as I do. I've made a big deal about it. And so I'm concerned in that regard. Dan?
I do just want to say real quick that maybe no worse indictment on the state of the show is that in season 1, Sink or Swim was pretty much exclusively for Is Elliot a Villain? And now in season 2, it's like, what does the dirt mean?
we're full grasping at straws.
Well, there's not enough Elliot anymore to even continue.
No, I'm just saying, it's not even about Elliot here and there. I'm just like, here's were the things we were focused on in season 1. But here are the things we are focused on.
Think about all the long, the threads we were excited about in season 1. They all had some juice. They all had some merit. It was like, does Del know about this? When is Jacob? Can they change the past? When will Kat know about the pond? For a while, only Alice knew about it. Like all of these. And then this season, it's just like, can we be done with it? And I hate that. And that is really my sink is that I'm just starting to think the show's not going to recover. I'm starting to think that we're going to think about all of the substantial stuff that happened in season 1. Think about all from a standpoint of going through the entirety of Colton's death and all those scenes that, of character building and then the therapy and all of that. The thing with Jacob and then her getting over Jacob and what that entails. And this season, it has just been like, she can't talk to Jacob because have you heard about herbs? Have you heard about the delirium fever? Have you heard about, he's passed out, there's nothing we can. I'm just bummed because I don't think the show's going to recover. I don't think we're getting a better television show. I think this is the show. And at this point, the best I can hope for is a punt and a rebranding next year. That's the best we got.
If we get a chance to talk to them at some point, the creators, I would be, as we're now 7 episodes in and it looks like it's him, and I know we got to wrap, I would be most curious, why did they feel they needed to make Jacob an adult? It's like, there would still be a lot of other problems with Brain. You touched on this last week. It's like, I think a lot of this would be solved if it was Kid Jacob, since we were invested in Kid Jacob. There's no real story reason as to why he had to be a 20-something.
I have an idea. It's because the first season did this great wistful thing where it's like you can't change the past. All you can do is like appreciate it, learn from it, move forward. And I think them making Jacob older is their way of trying to do both of those things, is to go, we can bring Jacob back home, but they still lost his childhood. They didn't get the childhood. And I think that's what they're trying to do, is set up a world where they can continue to stand on that ground of, hey, you still can't change the past, but also you can, because we're going to bring him home. That's what
break every rule.
I think that's why they did it. Yeah.
We did, everybody. Congratulations. 3 episodes left. 3 episodes
Three
left.
left.
And then one calls the heart.
That's right. I'm in London next week, Brandon.
The London town.
Pit.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned. Hopefully all systems will be go.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Until then, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Use your Ziploc.
The Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.